some of the teams that have been mentioned, and Atlanta keeps coming up. And I could see why Atlanta would want Bill Belichick. Who wouldn't want Bill Belichick? If any team would want Bill Belichick, it would be the team that saw Bill Belichick coach his way out of a 28-3 third quarter hole in the Super Bowl. Yes, the Falcons would want Bill Belichick. Hair of the dog that bit you. Yes. Why does Belichick want the Falcons? You know, they haven't done anything with GM Terry Fontenot. Would they fire Fontenot if they get Belichick? Would they reassign him? What would they do? The bigger question is, what if Belichick calls Arthur Blank and says, I'm interested in coaching your team. I just don't want Rich McKay there. And I know nothing about the relationship between McKay and Belichick. But I know this. McKay is a survivor. McKay has found a way to be directly involved in football operations and have no accountability when football operations go poorly. Having a guy like that around who's your conduit to owner and is the one who shapes the message to the owner, I don't know that I want that if I'm Belichick. Nothing against Rich. I just don't know that I want that if I'm Belichick. I want a direct pipeline to the owner with no interference, no intermediaries, no liaisons. Me and the owner, just like it was in New England. It's me and the owner. So, yes, the Falcons should be interested. I don't know why Belichick would be. Don't have a quarterback there. Where are you going to get one? They get the 8th overall pick in the draft for the third straight year. Can they get a quarterback there? So, money may change everything. The opportunity to go to a division where you look around and say, okay, maybe I could get 6 wins a year in this division. Maybe I can fatten my record up in this division like I used to do when I was the Harlem Globetrotters and the other 3 teams in the AFC East were the Washington Generals. I just don't think, no matter how badly Atlanta might be interested in Bill Belichick, I don't think Belichick would be putting Atlanta at the top of his own list. The Chargers are a team that rise to the top of many lists because they've got a franchise quarterback in Justin Herbert. But I think a lot of people who follow the league closely and who know how the sausage gets made understand that something's off with the Chargers. You scratch the surface and it starts to smell like dysfunction. Justin Herbert is an attraction. I don't know that Belichick wants to go to the West Coast. I don't know how far he wants to stray from the East Coast. Now, he's been all over the place as a coach, but his greatest success has come close to home, relatively speaking. And that leads me to the other team that is out there, that is looking for a coach, looking for a head of football operations. And, folks, I'm not going to say anything bad about the folks who cover the team. But with the Commanders, you got to understand that a lot of these reports are coming directly from the people they deal with on a regular basis, who may be feeding something self-serving to somebody who's going to take it and run with it. Something that is incomplete, something that is not exactly accurate, something that doesn't really reflect what's going on inside the mind of the owner. I know, and I'm not backing off of this. I know. Josh Harris, new owner of the team, is enamored with the idea of making Bill Belichick the head coach. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. And it's quite possible, as we see these reports, that it's not going to happen. Don't you think there's a chance there's already been somebody who's reached out through an intermediary to find out if he'd be interested? And if I'm Belichick, you know, I was just talking about the Falcons where you got to worry about Rich McKay, and that could be enough that makes Belichick say no. You've got multiple owners. Yes, Josh Harris is fully in charge, but Irvin Magic Johnson with his 4%, he kind of takes over the room when he walks in. I've seen interviews with him where they characterize him as the owner. Then there's a couple of other limited partners. Josh Harris mentioned all 3 of them, and I'm being realistic about the facts that are staring us in the face. I'm willing to give Josh Harris the full benefit of the doubt. But if you're doing something that seems a little different than the way other people do it, and you're creating a situation where there are plenty of other people that a coach is going to have to worry about. I got to worry about what this owner's going to say. I got to worry about what that owner's going to say. I got to worry about this owner showing up. I got to worry about that one showing up. And then we have this committee involving somebody who wasn't even in football, who's going to help pick the people for the key jobs. Belichick may just not have the patience for that. It's possible he's already told them, I'm not interested, regardless of whether or not, and this part is true, Josh Harris is enamored with the idea of Bill Belichick being the head coach. There are plenty of things that we become enamored with in life that just don't work out. especially if it's not as attractive to Belichick as it could be. It's close to home. It's Annapolis, in that area. That's a plus. A lot of history with the franchise. That's a plus. Stadium's a shithole. That's a minus. You do your pros and cons, like Walter White when he had his legal pad. Pros and cons of killing the guy he had with the bike lock up against the drain pipe in the basement. Pros and cons. So, Adam Peters is a wild card in all of this. I think Adam Peters is going to end up being that head of football operations, whatever the title is. He's going to be the guy in charge of football operations. You know, he was with the Patriots from 2003 through 2008. Now, just because there's a history with someone doesn't mean that that's going to lead to a future. Could be that Bill Belichick has a little regard for Adam Peters. Could be Adam Peters doesn't want to work with a guy like Bill Belichick. But there is 6 years, 6 seasons, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Peters went to the Broncos when Josh McDaniels took the job there as the head coach. All I know is, and this is separate and apart from my information that Josh Harris is enamored with the idea of Belichick being the coach. Others are saying, hey, look at this. Peters, Belichick, Annapolis, Peters, Belichick. So just be discerning, folks, as you process this information. The people who cover a given team on a regular basis are getting stuff from people they always talk to with that team. And sometimes you're not getting the complete story. Sometimes you know you're going along with it and you'll be rewarded on the back end. And if circumstances change, they'll give you the scoop and they'll give you the explanation. They'll make it right with you. But I think it's as simple as this. Harris would like to finagle a way for Belichick to be the coach, but it's a tall order. That's what I think. When you look at the other options Bill Belichick is going to have, I think it's going to be difficult to lure him to a place where there's too many chefs. And it's not a criticism. It's just counting. Too many chefs, too many cooks, too many people that I got to worry about. I just want to coach the football team with minimal distraction and a straight line to the owner. When I need something, I want to go straight to the owner. So let's see what happens. Maybe Adam Peters convinces him. I'll insulate you from everything. You just coach. I'll get you whoever you want. You tell me who you want, I'll get them. You just coach. We'll see how it plays out. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.